Hailing from the Jersey Shore and raised as athletes, the Airey Bros have always shared a passion for physical culture, athletic performance, and human optimization, always striving to be the strongest versions of themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Along the way, they've met some pretty amazing humans and have had some pretty epic adventures. The intention of Airey Bros Radio is to showcase these amazing people and the impact that they've had on them, and to share tips, tricks, and hacks so that you can win each day, every day.
You know, it's a daily thing. Like, if you put in the work in anything every day, you're going, like, if you want to be a freaking awesome guitar player, well, what do you have to do? I mean, people, I think, can relate to that most because they know that musicians, they play every day. They have to, even when they're masters, like Van Halen is playing every day. There's always room for improvement because I personally believe there is no such thing as mastery. As soon as you think you've mastered something and you stop practicing, you're going to decline. You're going farther away from mastery at that point. So if you hit a point where you're like, I feel good, I don't need to work on this range of motion anymore in my neck, then you're simply going to decline away from mastery again. And it's important not necessarily to do the exercises that were given to you for your injury, but to also look at the range of
What up, y'all? This is episode 17 of Airey Bros Radio with Andrew Dettelbach, the Move You shirtless dude. Together with Dr. Mike, Move You is the how-to fix yo shit and live pain-free company. Go to MoveYou.com to find out how you can overcome pain, gain body awareness and strength, improve your posture, and free yourself from costly medical visits. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode of Airey Bros Radio. Much love, namaste, from the boys of 1512.
The real question is, do you have your shirt on right now?
I do not.
Yo, I think we got to get Richie to take his off to kind of combat that energy. We got Airey Bro shirtless dude over here.
That's awesome.
So what's good? What do you got going on these days?
Dude, working like a motherfucker. I don't know what. I don't know if you just want to start recording or what.
Yeah, we just roll with it, try to make it as organic as possible, and then like I say, we just chop things out if we need to. But you can curse, you can say whatever you want, you can talk about whoever you want, good, bad, or ugly. It's all good. We're rough, rugged, and raw over here at the Airey Bros Radio.
Love it.
So,
all right. Well, we've been working like crazy the last couple of years. I know I've known you guys fucking before we did anything with Move You. Obviously, I knew Jim a little better, but we have 20 employees now.
Really?
In the last year, we've gone from 4 to 20. So I don't really know what's going on anymore.
What do those 20 employees do?
That's a good question, man. We got marketers. We have a COO, a CTO. We're developing, some stuff for the future here, some technologies. We've got customer support people, sales people, videographers, guy who does podcasts. There's a lot going on.
Are you guys actually working on people still?
No, we stopped that 3 years ago. I mean, we have some people come in here and there, like usually people from our program who've completed our program. They're really the only ones we let come in, and we don't actually work on them. We just we'll get like testimonials from them, and we don't need to work on them because they figure their shit out on their own. That's kind of the point of our program, is for people to empower themselves, take control of their own bodies, their own mind, and they don't need to rely on other people. So when they come to see us, it's more like come to thank us.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing to watch. When we had first met, I remember you telling me the goal was to, sell the chiropractor, close that down and go fully online and educate people online. So to watch that happen and see it in the process of it happen has been pretty impressive and pretty epic to watch.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's gone through lots of ups and downs, and I think that's the important part of life is to have those downs so you can actually learn and grow.
And that just,
I mean,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, Jim, you played a pretty pivotal role for me when I had my injury, and like having you and Coop there during that point was, it's a big deal to me. So I really appreciate all the stuff that you've done for me in the coaching realm, and I learned a lot from you in terms of motivating people. You're a very positive, motivational, loud person, so I appreciate all of that.
Well, I appreciate those comments because, to see what you're doing and how you have impacted people's life, that means a lot coming from you. And just to see how you correct it, or as I should say, fix yo shit with the breathing and the exercises, At a certain point in my life, I thought maybe that might have been a little BS, but, to do it in myself and then see you to fix herniated discs just through movement and breath work has been pretty incredible. And what you guys are putting out there is epic to see. Just, you don't have to go get surgery. You can breathe and put 6 months to a year and fix your shit,
Yeah, that's the big piece. That 6 months to a year, people are like, I want my shit fixed in a couple weeks. That's not realistic.
No. Can you?
You're not going to build a business in a couple weeks.
No. Can you go into what the injury was and how you fixed it for the people that may not know?
Yeah. So I had bulged my disc in like my L4, L5 lower back. Bulged it at some point during my finals in 2013. And a few months later, I was struggling with pain and it hurts and I wasn't able to do the things I wanted to do. Then I herniated it a few months later, and that's when the shit hit the fan. And I was having trouble walking, standing up straight. Just, I could barely take a shit. It was my sex life was going away. My relationship was struggling. It was one of those injuries that debilitates you and it keeps you down for months. I was doing the PT stuff, and I was told by 3 surgeons that I needed to have surgery. It was a 10 millimeter herniation, which isn't the biggest that we've seen. I mean, we've seen 12 to 14 millimeter herniations in our program. They've done well. But I had full control of my limbs, so I didn't lose control. But I had this constant burning down both legs, so much so that I just couldn't even straighten my legs. And I spent the first 3 months doing the exercises that the PT gave me on a white piece of paper, and I did them like constantly every day, despite the pain. And I made very gradual improvements, like so gradual. Like, wow, I made a 0.5% improvement today. Like, I'm noticing this subtle difference. I'm going to keep going. And at the end of the 3 months, I was like, fuck, I need something to boost me. And I did a cortisone shot in my back, and it helped me. I was pain-free for a week. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. And then a week later, it all came back. And I dove into a real dark spiral of just negativity. Like, I'm fucked. I'm never going to do what I need to do again in my life. And just like a day or two later, I just kept going at it. And I was making progress, did the shot, kind of lost some of that, whatever. And I just kept going forward and realized that, all I can do is just keep working day by day. I didn't know when I would feel better, but I knew that I would. Like deep down inside, I knew that I would feel better. And I just kept putting in the work. And about 2 years later, my symptoms were completely resolved. I probably met Jim about a year into that. I don't know when you were hired with Coop. Like I met Coop about a year after my injury, and I was kind of getting back to doing some exercises. That Toops breathing, that helped me a lot. That finding the brace and neutralizing my spine, because I was like Gumby, dude. I would do a squat and my pelvis would go through so many different positions before I get to the bottom. That was a shit show. I didn't know where my body was in space, and I had a lot of work to do. So over the last 5 years, I've really learned what my body can't do, and I improve on all of it.
Was there one specific thing that caused the herniation, or was it just like an accumulation?
So that's the thing that everyone will say, like, oh, I did a deadlift, hurt myself. I did this one run, and, like, my disc blew up. I did, whatever it is. People are like to attribute their injury to one thing because it makes sense in their mind. And a lot of times it's just the accumulation. So I would tell people that when I originally bulged the disc, I was laying in bed studying for finals, like up against the wall, and my back was rounded and I was sick. I had like a gnarly chest cold, and I coughed and I felt a massive pop in my back, and from that point I had this pain in my back with a bulged disc. But then several months later, I helped move my mom's fridge, and the next morning I woke up with crazy sciatica. So it's like, all right, I can blame the cough, I can blame moving the fridge, but ultimately it came down to me not knowing where my body was in space, not understanding my strengths and weaknesses, and just moving like dog shit.
Mention knowing your body in space and how you're moving. How do you teach that to people, come in maybe with the same issue, shitty posture, to kind of recognize their daily posture, how they have their position throughout every aspect of their day? It has an effect on their back, their neck, their spine. How do you make people realize that, and kind of some cues to go back when they're standing like shit, when their head's going forward?
Yeah. Our program is all online. We don't see people in person, and people make these realizations. They figure it out without having anyone hands-on with them. And what we have them do is just simply, we have these amazing things called phones, and they can video record your ass. And when you record yourself, like if you put yourself on time-lapse and you're at work, you're sitting there, you're standing there, whatever the hell you do, and you watch yourself on time-lapse, you're like, damn, I am crazy. Like my positions move in between things constantly, and if you're recording yourself doing your exercises, you're going to catch so many things that you'd never see. Mirrors are great, but when you get yourself from a side view or from a back view as well, you're going to start picking up on things that you can improve on without anyone telling you. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, we've been noticing a lot of that with the recordings of the podcast, how shitty our shoulder position is when we're sitting here talking.
Yeah, man, it's eye-opening, and that's the important thing, is just for people to figure it out themselves. If someone comes up to you and says, hey, your shoulder's rounded for you, you're like, fuck you. But for you to like figure that out and be like, I don't know if I like that, and no one said it, and you just kind of figured it out yourself, it's going to be much more profound.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, dude. I definitely miss having you around these days when I'm standing like shit or rounded. You used to come up to me like, bruh, what are you doing? And like, oh, man, I'm standing like such an asshole.
That's that jits, too.
Yeah,
Still doing that?
I haven't been on the mat in 2 years. I got knee surgery on my medial meniscus, so I've just been running and strength training at this point right now.
Good shit, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough call to go through, those surgeries. I mean, people get these surgeries and they're like, all right, well, I'm fixed now. And it just comes down to you've got to still pick up on like what caused that in the first place. Sometimes it is a traumatic incident. A lot of times it's not. It's just not necessarily overuse. It's just not knowing what your knee is doing. So good on you for keep going at it.
When it comes to people coming to you guys that a doctor saying, hey, you might need surgery or you should go get surgery, what are the percentage, if you could put a number on it, of people that you guys think actually need the surgery or can fix it with doing these exercises?
I'd say, there's instances where I'll just throw out a random fucking number, 5%. if you lost control of something because of some disc injury or nerve injury, like you have no control of a part of your body, that's kind of warranted to get surgery. If you have a bone growth, like in one of your joints, spur, for instance, you literally can't move your hip in a range of motion because it hits an object in your hip or shoulder, then that's an instance where they go in, they shave it down, and that's another warranted kind of surgery. So there's just not as common that we see in our program. We get some messed up people, and it's like, they don't all need it. They just need to put in the work. And we work with their mindset a lot as well. Movement's great, but yeah, so the movements are great, and you see a lot of that on our Instagram, focus on the movements. And the biggest component is the mind, because the mind is going to feel the pain, it's going to make your body move, and we don't necessarily go that route on our Instagram as much, just because you've got to meet people where they're at with their knowledge and their understanding. And people grasping movement, looking at movement, they're going to be like, yeah, this makes sense, I'm moving a little more improperly here, I can focus on my posture. And then when they get in our program, we start emphasizing a lot more mindset. And that's when people start making drastic changes. Changing their relationship to pain, changing the relationship to their injury, giving them to understand that it's a good thing. People talk about failures, and it's important for people to understand that failure is important, and that injuries, in a sense, can be a failure that you can improve on. There's a lot more that we dive into there, but I don't know if I want to get into all that.
Now you guys are on the road too, doing seminars or workshops.
Here and there, we probably do 4 or 5 a year.
Okay.
I forget what we've done this year. I know that we just did Asheville. My girlfriend's out in Asheville, and she set it up there. She sets up all the workshops. And then we have Dubai and maybe Egypt, depending on the political things that are going on there. We did Egypt. We did Dubai last year. That was a pretty cool experience.
Getting your Ric Flair on, dog.
Yeah, man, that's a cool place. Go ahead.
These workshop seminars, I can remember when we were doing the CFE stuff, you have a group of people where there's a percentage that is into it and receptive, and then it almost felt like at times there were people there that were just there to battle or to question everything that you were doing. In your situations, is everyone all in and on board, or are you getting some of those people that are there just to kind of question what you're doing?
Cool question, man. It's like a deep cut. So I'd say, there's probably one person at each workshop that's kind of like that. And they're usually pretty quiet because Mike and I we can be pretty overpowering. We're taller dudes, we're bigger dudes, and, people don't necessarily just come at us like that. But we also have people that just, like the everyday person. I'd say half of our workshop is an everyday person that doesn't train, doesn't have any medical background, no fitness background. They're there to really just they're working on understanding themselves. So that helps a lot. It's not like we're working with only trainers. The other half, trainers, PTs, chiros, we'll get some medical doctors in there. And everyone's pretty into it. It's simple stuff, and we make it simple for people to understand, from both the medical doctors to the everyday person, the mom that hasn't worked out in 10 years type of thing. And, it's kind of hard to battle just simple information that makes sense. I know that we had like one issue with one person in all of our 10 workshops. And, a lot of times when someone's that angry, it's got to do with them. Like, what is your issue?
It's usually daddy issues.
Daddy issues, yeah. We got a lot of experience with that with the Instagram. Like, you got 1 million people following you. You're going to have some people that they're pulling out all their anger and sadness that they have in their life and just throwing it back at you.
Do you even pay attention to that stuff, though?
Dude, it's tough not to go through the comments, go through the shit, and like you hear just 95% positive shit. You see one asshole, and you're like, "That's it, my day's ruined."
I've been there.
So many times, dude. So after I post something, I usually don't even look at the comments.
Yeah, one of the probably most important things very early on, before he became the Tim Ferriss that he is now, I got the opportunity to see him speak, and one of the things he had mentioned with that was, with the negativity, is just to suffocate it. If you don't acknowledge it, if you don't respond to it, it doesn't go anywhere. But they're doing that sort of trolling because they want you to engage. You know, that's how they know they get under your skin, where just don't even pay attention to it, and then it doesn't, it doesn't go any further than their negative comment.
Exactly. There's sometimes it's just so easy to put a comment out there that's funny back at them.
Yeah.
And then I obviously don't look at it again, but it's a lot of times I see that stuff and ignore it, or I just delete it or block them. Blocking them is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's always the ones that have their Instagram on private too that like to make the comments.
Private, no followers, but they're not following anyone. They're just there to just have fun, I guess. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
So, talking on the social media aspect of things, and and dealing with some trolls, I remember kind of when you guys blew up, when it happened to be a repost from one of your patients, and you guys kind of blew up, and that's kind of how the Move You took off, the business took off on social media. Just kind of go into details in transition in the business from a public place to being on social media and monetizing that, and how that's going.
Yeah, so when we started blowing up, I think maybe, I don't even know when we got to the point where I was like, hey, we have a lot of people following us. We should try to monetize this, as you said, or help some other people in the world. Like, all right, we're seeing 180 people in the office each week, and we have 50,000 people watching us on the internet. How do we help them? Because that's way more than 180 people a week. And so, thinking about that, we started to shift things. Like, Mike decided to go all in, and he went and kind of started listening to all these passive income podcasts and Andy Frisella and all these business podcasts. And I was working in the clinic, pretty much just working on people myself. He just started to cut out. He'd go to the office, but he'd lock himself in his office and just go listen to podcasts and write shit down and trying to figure things out. I'd just be working on the patients, and he eventually incorporated and Move You, and we just kept grinding away. And eventually, I saw that he was serious. The dude has a shitload of ideas. Mike is the idea fucking master, and a lot of things fall through. I'd say 5% of things come through, and they're just awesome. And so I'd previously done a lot of things with Mike that hadn't panned out, and I was like, I don't know, this is we'll see what happens. And he kept sticking to it. I'm like, this is actually working. It's going somewhere. So then I decided, I ended up writing the entire program, and we worked on doing webinars and all this shit. And all the while, we're obviously posting a couple times a week. I think we were doing 2 times a week on Instagram. And I started to, we really transitioned more into Move You. We launched in November of 16, I think. We launched our program. We sold 1 or something in a week. That was awesome. And within 5 months, we were able to close down the brick and mortar business and stay completely online. So it was about a 1.5-year process from the idea to actually closing down the clinic by the time it had been thought of. And then we started posting 5 days a week. Now we're posting 7 days a week, and now we're posting 15 times in a week, and that's a lot of content.
Yeah. Whose idea was it for you not to wear your shirt?
So I think it was the 4th video that we ever did. You know, we were putting out some like hip flexor stretches and some other stretches and shit. I take my shirt off to show something with the shoulder blade in the neck, and the video got like 10,000 views or something. And we're like, what? And so I put my shirt on for the next video, views dropped. Took my shirt off again for another video, had nothing to do with the back and shoulder. It was like the knee or something, and the views fucking skyrocketed. And I'm like, all right then. So we keep the shirt off. So I just kept the shirt off, and that just became the gimmick, the persona. And up until recently, obviously, Instagram's algorithms have changed a lot. I don't think it necessarily matters if my shirt is on or off for that viewership, because they control quite a bit of that algorithm.
And how did that impact your DMs?
Oh my gosh. So I got quite a bit of a male following.
Oh, really? You and Ryan Fisher, huh?
So I've got a lot of those, but actually the DMs they're pretty chill nowadays. Anyway, even at 1 million followers, I'm probably get a few, and I don't look at my own Instagram. I don't run it. Someone else is in there. The girlfriend's in there doing all that stuff. So
when you were checking it, what was the most aggressive female DM you had?
Oh, just lots of images that people just send, like, here's my vagina.
Yes.
Just, I've actually never received a dick pic. I'm very surprised. I'll get like just a man, like a hairy man chest. Like, hey, I'm ready for you.
Yeah, when we get off this podcast, I'll change that for you, dog, and make you feel good about yourself.
You get that Airey Bros bump.
Oh yeah, hopefully just saying that in this podcast, people just start sending me them. I'm like, right.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make a promo clip and put it out there in the ether to change your fortune. But talking about running the business online and changing from the brick and mortar to being online, you're talking to two dudes here that are trying to monetize the Airey Bros name and be online. What are your tips and suggestions to anyone who's trying to make it happen on social media and monetize that?
I think it's very important to be yourselves. If you're trying to be someone else, be something else like that you see, and it's inauthentic, you're not being yourselves, then it's not going to go. I personally don't think it'll grow. You look at the people that are most popular, and they're generally very open and a little bit crazy, and they're loud, and they do shit that just catches attention. I mean, I know that me having my shirt off and Mike being loud and like in your face, it was just a nice little combo. And I see a lot of people actually replicating that now. There's a lot of Instagram feeds that have this one guy that's really loud, and either a guy or a girl that has, very little clothing, and they kind of move around all goofy. And so it's a formula that people have started to capitalize on. So it's like, as far as podcasting goes, like, look at the people that are doing well and just observing what they do. And Joe Rogan is the person that comes to my mind. He's 100% himself on there. He's not hiding a damn thing. And I think that's super important, is just being as authentic as possible. I think you guys are doing that right now. And coming up with something that's a little more unique. I feel like you look at Joe Rogan, he's got like this rugged scene. He's got the guns, he's got the MMA, and that's what he's kind of all about, the hunting and the MMA. And you see that in his filming studio. People are I think they're more attracted to that than just some blank studio. Yes, figuring out what you can capitalize on yourselves and being yourself.
Be yourself. In terms of your...
I don't know if that helps you.
Yeah, no.
Like,
absolutely. In terms of the content, I know a lot of people are always posting on the fly, so to speak, where they've got this photo or whatever it may be, and they're just winging it, throwing it out there. How in depth and how much on the back end in the war room are you guys like storyboarding, writing things out, kind of having like scripts? Because now that you guys are putting stuff out every day, you know, it's definitely not something, and it probably wasn't even from the beginning where it was just like, hey, I got this idea, quick, let's do this. Like, how in depth is that? Are you guys spending one day just on filming and stuff like that?
So just as far as like a script for what's said in the videos, there is none that's written, but Mike has watched himself in many of the videos that have done well, and he's figured out, like, all right, these are the things that I've done, the things that I've said, and he's kind of figured out his own formula of things to say that I don't even know if people kind of recognize, but he says the same similar formula of words in each video. Now, I know that the videos that have done well, I've done something goofy, something gimmicky, something that people, that causes the trolls to come out, and that's just me being awkward with my body, with my facial features, making weird sounds, and people just gravitate toward that. So I've always done that in person in my life, and I actually, to be myself, there would be a lot more of that, and I actually kind of hold back a little bit because I can get a little too intense, I think. And is that bad? I don't know, because intensity gets attention. People really like to see that. And then as far as the back end, we've got about 50 videos in our hopper right now, all the way back from like the beginning of July, end of June. And so we will film maybe 10 videos in one day, and they'll get edited by a team of 2 guys. And I'll go through, I'll watch them all and be like, you know what? 75% of these videos are good. These other ones are out. So there's about 25% of videos we make do not go out. And then I'll sit down for a good hour or two, and I'll plan out the videos for the next week, like what I think will fit best. And then Katie goes in, and she writes the content for us, and that's about 30 minutes to an hour per post of writing. And I'll go in sometimes, depending on how busy we are, and I'll go in and write some as well. I wrote for 3 years and kind of tired of that, but I go in and do it depending on demand. And so in all, it's a full-time job to do Instagram between 2 people.
At this point, do you have a typical day, or is it different every day?
I think that's the coolest part about having an online business is my days are different every day. Some days we go into the office, and like yesterday I went in the office, and I don't even know if I completed tasks. There was just a lot of talking and planning, and we're goofing off, and I think that's the creative environment of having like a social media built company, and so every day is very different.
Now, I know
there's some more structured. Maybe we'll bring in like a influencer, and we've got to be there at a certain time. We'll be with them for a specific amount of time, but again, that's like a couple times a month maybe.
Now, I know you said that you guys are, only doing 4 to 5 seminars a year, but the perception on social media seems like you guys are traveling either to go meet influencers or people in the fitness space. Are you traveling a lot, or is that just the perception that you guys are putting out there?
I actually travel a lot. So I spend half my time in Asheville with Katie. And so I travel back and forth quite a bit. About to hit platinum with American. Yeah. And start getting them upgrades. And so Mike is doing a little bit less traveling than I am. But yeah, we'll have influencers come. I don't know if it looks like we're traveling, but we'll go to like the local beach or someone else's house, and we'll do some filming there. It looks like we're somewhere else, but we're still in our city,
Right on.
But if I'm posting stories and I'm like in Asheville or something, then people might think we're both out there, I guess.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know.
How do you like Asheville?
It's great. Right now it's been pretty stormy. You know, getting in and out of there on a plane has been a struggle. But overall, you know, it's an awesome spot. Downtown Asheville. I don't know if you guys have been.
Yeah.
It's a pretty badass, fun, hippie town.
Are you a beer
like
drinker?
Yeah, man. I don't drink much, but when I do, so, you know, I'll sit down and enjoy a beer or two. And, you know, it's a good spot there for that.
No, it's one of the meccas here in America. Asheville has definitely got it going on. It's a cool little area. You ever go Mount Mitchell? Have you done hike over there yet?
No, not yet.
You got to go check it out. It's a pretty epic
Mount
little
Mitchell.
hike. Yeah, it's the highest point east of the Mississippi.
Interesting. I know that, like, I'm looking around Asheville, and they're like, look at these mountains. I'm like, these aren't fucking mountains. So, I mean, like, how far is Mount Mitchell? A couple hours or something?
No, it's I want to say it's in between like an hour and 90 minutes from Asheville. I believe it's in the Black Mountains. I could be wrong. I have to fact check that. I did an event where we did the 3 highest points in Alabama, Georgia, and then we finished up at Mount Mitchell in North Carolina. And being in Colorado and getting above tree line and experiencing all that, where you get to the top at I think it's like 64,000 feet or 6,400 feet rather, and everything is still green, you know. So it's a totally different kind of mountainous experience where there is no tree line. Everything is still green and beautiful and pretty lush. So it's a fun little hike or run, you know, at that low elevation. Yeah, I was able to run pretty much the entire way up. I think it's like 6.5 miles to the top.
Yeah, you're a beast with running. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm all right.
Never been something I've been stoked on.
So, not to go back to what we were talking about with the influencers, but, you know, I had seen that Dr. Mike had posted a picture with Richard Branson. I've seen you guys post some pictures with some epic people. What person have you met in this journey that kind of had an impact on you and maybe changed the way you were thinking about things, or just in general was an epic person?
Think about that for a second. Shit. I'm like trying to think of all the people we've worked with. I don't think I've ever been asked this question. Like, as I'm thinking, Antonio Brown comes to mind because he actually, he was the wide receiver for the Steelers, and he is actually an incredibly smart guy, and he had a lot of. I think it was great to have someone that caliber, like, love what we were doing and want more of it, and we're not able to give that to him because of our mission of helping so many other people, that devoting our lives to that one person wouldn't be realistic, and I don't think I could do it personally. He's intense, and I think it was incredible to have someone that caliber say, like, that we have something that other people don't, and it almost made me be like, all right, then we definitely don't need to work with this person. We need to share what we have with the rest of the world. And he's worked with a shitload of people in the fitness industry, so that was incredible. Just kind of an extra boost. We worked with him numerous times. Mike still works with him. I don't necessarily want to devote my time to him. He's all over the place. I like structure, and there's not much of that.
You don't want to be in the entourage?
Yeah, no. And Michael Chandler was great.
Oh, right on.
I love Michael Chandler. He's an incredible human being. He has a very positive mindset, very friendly guy, and he's a little bitch.
Did you go to Tennessee, or did he come to you guys?
I told her that. No, he came to us. I told him that to his face.
Judging by his last fight, I would agree too.
He was great, though. We've got some other people coming up here. Comedian. He's done a lot of shit, and I guess he's an incredible person in Hollywood in that realm. So I'm excited to work with him, get connected with him. Mike's all about the athletes. I'm all about musicians and actors. Like, I know that realm. I don't know shit about sports or athletes. When they were like, "Hey, we're gonna work with Antonio Brown," I'm like, "Who the hell's that?" And I went and looked him up, and he's like, it said 4 times pro bowler on his Wikipedia. I'm like, damn, he's a bowler? And so that's how much I know about football. And so I'm excited to work with artists. There's some other singers that we're trying to get connected with. And, it's going up. It's growing, and I'm excited to get connected with each of these people. Makes it really fun and makes me really happy that I pushed to do Instagram wearing the clay.
Then working with guys like Chandler and Antonio, do they move well, or are you completely blown away by how awful they move at as high level of athletes as they are?
They are specialized, right? Like they've done their movements thousands of times, and it's going to create imbalances specific to that movement. And it's like, are they going to be healthy in the future? Are they going to feel good in the future? I'd have a feeling that Michael Chandler is going to feel better in the future than Antonio Brown will, just because his is, forward, sagittal plane. Well, that's not necessarily true. He does frontal plane stuff as well. But that sprinting forward in those tight shoes for years, like his ankle mobility it's limited, and that's probably a good thing for what he's doing. It probably creates a nice explosive spring and has aided to his speed. And when we were with him, it was a challenge to be like, all right, so do we work with him and try to improve his ankle mobility, improve his motions? Would that help him in his sport, or would it actually hamper him? So, we worked at it slowly, and he felt that it was a very big improvement. But it's always a challenge to be like, so if we work with this imbalance, is it actually going to help them, or will it cause issues in their sport? Will they win? So in terms of retirement, each of these people is probably going to have some struggles. But I'd say Michael Chandler has a better chance just because he hits so many different angles with his body. He hits some ranges of motion that aren't used by, some of those more sport-specific one-movement athletes.
Right.
I'd be intrigued to see Usain Bolt. Like, he just goes forward. Or you look at LeBron James' squat, that video that went viral, and you think, how's he going to feel in another 15, 20 years? And does that necessarily matter to him? Like, dude, I'm the shit.
Yeah, because when I see videos like that, or watching the countdown for UFC or Bellator or any of those things, and you see guys doing like half rep pull-ups or half rep push-ups, I always wonder, who is coaching these dudes, and how are you allowing them to not move properly or move through full ranges of motion?
Yeah, exactly. And for us, working with Antonio Brown 3 times and Michael Chandler once, it's like you're not going to make any sort of changes in that period of time. So it really does come down to the trainers, and I think that they just know, they know football, they know MMA. So it's like, let's improve the performance in football or MMA, and not necessarily the function of the human. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, talking about working with someone one time or only 3 times and how important it is to have it on the daily. And I know just with my own experience with the protocol that, we kind of figured out with, you and Dr. Mike gave me, and, hitting it hard when my neck's hurting, when, my injuries are hurting, but kind of letting it go when I'm feeling better. How important is it to be doing those exercises and that protocol when you're feeling good and you have no symptoms?
So, we've learned a lot since we've worked with you, and I've done a bunch of seminars with a bunch of different people, and I've continued to educate myself because I continue to think I don't know shit. So, it's a daily thing. Like, if you put in the work in anything every day, you're going, like, if you want to be a fucking awesome guitar player, well, what do you have to do? I mean, people, I think, can relate to that most because they know that musicians, they play every day. They have to, even when they're masters, like Van Halen is playing every day. There's always room for improvement because I personally believe there is no such thing as mastery. As soon as you think you've mastered something and you stop practicing, you're going to decline. You're going farther away from mastery at that point. So if you hit a point where you're like, I feel good, I don't need to work on this range of motion anymore in my neck, then you're simply going to decline away from mastery again. And it's important not necessarily to do the exercises that were given to you for your injury, but to also look at the ranges of motion that you have in your body. And if that's something, if you're an athlete and you're wanting to improve performance, or not an athlete, if you're a stay-at-home mom and you want to improve your life with your child, and that's important to you, and you understand that improving range of motion in your hips and shoulders and your spine is a good thing, then understanding that you must maintain that range of motion in your joints is important. You've got to work on it every day, at least one of those areas every day. If not, it's a use it or lose it type of deal. And things start to decline, getting farther away from mastery, and the pain will generally come back. It's having people, like our program takes you through the entire body and has you start to isolate parts of the body. And when you learn how to isolate and control each part of the body, you know where each of your limitations are and where you need to work on a daily basis. There are no, there's like 300 exercises in our program, but there's an infinite number of exercises in the world. So we never want you to be restricted to 300 exercises. Those exercises were just chosen because we like them. We think they help people get in touch with their body. And then once they get a better understanding of their body, go explore movements. Like there's a device that people keep sending us in our DMs where it's like this helmet that you strap to your head and it connects to like a cable machine, and you do all these rotational twists with your head and your neck to strengthen the neck. If you're like, how stupid is this? I'm like, you know what? If you know what your limitations are, you understand your body, that device is probably excellent for you. But if you just buy it and you have no idea what your neck does, what your ranges of motion are, you haven't ever filmed yourself and seen where your limitations are, then that device it might harm you. But I'd say that, after you have worked on for you, Jim, it was that kind of, your neck is a little bit straighter, having you work on some extension exercises, getting some curvature back in the neck. Being in jits, you get into that flexion a lot with your head. So counteracting that, but now it's like, all right, add some strength to it. Do some cooler looking shit. I know that people in jiu-jitsu, they'll roll around on their head to strengthen the neck. Guys, I've never done that, by the way. That's great if you understand what you need to do and why you're doing the exercise. That was long-winded as hell.
No, that was good, and kind of what I was looking for. I noticed these days when I let the exercises go and I'm not doing my breath work and doing those exercises, I have days I'm not training where my neck feels worse now than it did when I was training, and I just know it goes back to doing those exercises and making it a part of my daily routine.
You mean training in JIF?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about you're putting your head into ranges of motion that probably was helping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not necessarily yes, you're cranking your neck to the side, but you are using the muscles in that range of motion. So I don't know if you're familiar with FRC has really coined this stuff.
Yeah.
Functional range conditioning. But strengthening those ranges of motion is probably one of the best ways to reduce your pain in the long run and prevent future injury. Not 100% prevent it, but mitigate it.
Do you still get flare-ups?
Yeah, so I've had pain since I was 5 years old, like chronic pain. I was diagnosed with something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos. So I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of me walking around on my toe knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. All the connective tissue in my body is very lax, very, very stretchy. So my muscles, my bones, my eyes, my teeth, there's connective tissue in everything in our body. And so I have some vascular issues, teeth issues, eye issues, and joint issues. So I've had musculoskeletal pain since I was about 5 years old, and I've had the meniscus stuff, I've had the impingement stuff, I've had bone spurs pop up. Obviously, I've had the disc injury. I've injured pretty much every muscle in my body, every joint in the body, and so I've had the experience of going through each of these injuries that last upwards of 1 year at a time. I've had hernias as well. And I've worked on all these without medical intervention, without surgery and stuff like that. I really am thankful for having, whether it is the EDS, the Ehlers-Danlos, that has caused all these injuries or made me more prone to injury or not, I'm thankful for each of them because it's given me the opportunity to relate with people and understand what they're going through with their injuries and to be able to help them with it. Because I think it's very important to have experienced something yourself if you're going to help some people out. Like, you don't want to go to a doctor for some of your shit if they've never experienced it. They've read it from books and learned it from classes. The fuck do they know? They can read as many studies as they want, and until they go through it themselves, they're never going to fully understand.
Yeah, that's Paul Check 101. Tell your doctor to take off his shirt.
Tell your doctor to take off his shirt. So, what was the original question?
Do you still have flare-ups?
Yeah. Recently, I think it's more in my elbows. So I've been working on that, exploring that. And I'm never afraid of anything anymore. I look at it and I'm like, cool, this is another learning experience. I'm figuring out what am I doing in my workouts or in my daily life that is contributing to this? Is it stress related mentally? Is it food related? Just looking at all aspects of it and, kind of having fun through the process. That's the kind of changing the relationship with the pain and injury versus just like fearing it, hating it, wanting it to go away. It's like, cool, that's not going to help you out. Let's embrace it and figure it out one day at a time. However long it takes is how long it takes.
And is the elbow pain caused by your fitness protocol now, or is it again going back to? Yeah,
so I'm a CrossFit athlete. I'm addicted to it, and I think it was back in October. I finally decided to learn the butterfly pull-ups, and I'm still not sure if it's my size, the length of my levers, or what. But when I did those, it flared up my medial epicondyle like crazy, the golfer's elbow. Mm-hmm. And I'd never had that before. And I've been working on all kinds of different end range work, and that helped. And then just like Jim was talking about, you kind of forget about it because it doesn't hurt anymore. You don't focus on it as much, and it starts to come back as a result. So really continuing to dive into what is the mechanism that's causing it, and kind of figuring it out yourself, going through that, like treating yourself like a science experiment, task to retest. And yeah, so I've been working on that. It was better for a few months, and then started getting back into real heavy work and different pull-ups and muscle-ups and stuff like that, and it's come back a little bit. And it Could be related to the flare of the elbows. Could be related to my grip. I like to hold more of a false grip on all the bars, and that's not necessarily the best route all the time. So, yeah, just playing with different things.
So do you kip or do you butterfly now?
I kip. That looks beautiful. I like my kipping.
Yeah, me too.
I bet.
And then obviously I'll supplement and just do strict because fucking the strength is key in the long run.
Right, and that was always the hardest thing coaching CrossFit, was trying to get people to wrap their head around, okay, we have to crawl, then we have to walk, and then we have to run. And that god-awful kipping muscle-up that you just did doesn't count as a real muscle-up until you can do it strict.
Yes, exactly. And I think bar muscle-ups are still the one thing that, strict bar muscle-ups are one thing that I just don't understand. I would love to be able to figure that out. I've had like calisthenic people talk to me about it. I'm like, great. I'm 227 pounds right now.
Damn, you're a big boy.
Getting huge, dude.
Raw steel and sex appeal.
All day.
You guys are little one-liners. the wrestling mentality.
Everything's a promo.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Was it The Rock?
Yep.
You made that like infomercial thing for?
Yeah, that's
funny, dude.
That's what I was thinking of when you brought up Antonio Brown, because that's all I know him from is when he cut that promo on that guy trying to cover him that one year. That's the only thing I know about him.
See, I didn't even know that.
So saying that you're a CrossFit athlete, I know you got your level 1, and I know you and Dr. Mike a lot of your clientele were CrossFit athletes. And
Yeah, they were.
I know you don't own a CrossFit gym, but I know you're in a CrossFit gym doing CrossFit, but you also have that knowledge and that eye to see broken people and see broken people all around. If you had to write a CrossFit program or protocol for maybe someone getting into it, how much would be the basic exercises and how much would be the move use protocol too, right? Would you have that go hand in hand for someone trying to get into CrossFit to mitigate getting hurt?
I'm biased. I'm always going to promote our program and our process. If I had a gym physically and I was programming for it, or if I was programming for a gym that I didn't have, it would likely be a mixture of those movements, and it would probably have more of an emphasis on the coaches' training more than anything. Like having the coaches explaining to people the importance and the why behind the little fundamental boring ass movements so that they can actually improve whatever their goals are. Not everyone that goes into a CrossFit gym, their goals aren't to snatch whatever, or deadlift this. Maybe they just want to be fit or maybe they just want to improve their life with their kids. Whatever it is that they're in there for. You've got to meet them with what they want. So if you're going in there, and I know a lot of CrossFit coaches, they just kind of be like, do this, it's going to strengthen your back. Okay, why? Why do you want that? And you've got to meet them with their goals. So I think that would be the most important thing, is to figure out what each person's goal is and to meet them with where they're at and help them understand why it would be important to do some of the smaller movements. So really focus on the warm-ups and getting things activated and focusing on your body awareness. And then pick the appropriate movements. My God. Like the banded pull-ups are just have people do some eccentric strengthening with pull-ups, or have them working on ring rows, different ring variations. Just like Coop had programmed. I loved his programming. I think it was essential for me in my recovery after my injury. The stuff, how fundamental he had made everything. At the same time, though, it wasn't necessarily fun for people. By the way, that gym is on now. It's on its 4th owner.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's in there now?
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I left it a while ago.
Must have been an Indian burial ground or something that it was built on.
That place is a death trap for business, or at least the gym. It would still have the fun aspects of CrossFit and allow people to experiment safely and have things sprinkled in that are going to be beneficial. But really, it comes down to the coaches explaining why. What the hell? I think that would make it the biggest difference. And I don't think the coaches know how to do that or why themselves.
Yeah, when you said about the banded pull-ups, that conversation was always the bane of my existence. I always knew when there was a client who kept on pushing to banded pull-ups, I was like, all right, I'm not going to get through to this person. They clearly do not want my advice and are just trying to ask this question and tell me what they want to do.
You know?
Yeah, and but
I was going to say, it's better than banded pull-ups?
Banded ring ropes.
Banded handstand push-ups.
Oh, Jesus.
I've actually never seen that. I can't even picture how to do that.
Exactly.
Put it under around the collarbone.
I can't
do it freestanding.
I can't even remember. I just remember walking in and thinking, what the actual fuck? But it was a old retired wrestling coach who was hunched over and broken, and you just, no matter what you were going to say to him or what certification or degrees you had, you were not going to get through to that individual.
That's intense. Yeah, I mean, there's always a way around it, and when you're in a class of people, you don't have time. I think there's always a way to get through to somebody and get them to understand it. It just, sometimes it can take weeks, and when you're in a class like that, you just can't, you don't have the time. You have to talk to each person like that.
So you were saying that, the coaches being able to explain the why and how important that is. Have you guys thought about putting like a coach's class online, or are you guys so busy just helping the general pop that there's not enough time for something like that?
So we are we're planning a coach's certification for the future. And it's pretty much, it's going to incorporate our program, obviously, and then it's going to dive a lot more into the stuff we're talking about right now, the why, and then the business, and we're really going to dive in deep with what coaches are going to need to get people to meet those people with where they're at and their goals and their mindset. Like you see your family member and you go tell them, hey, you should do this. Or you see someone in your gym, you're like, hey, you should do this. But you've got to understand that, like, how many times has someone told you that you should do something and you're kind of anxious about it. You don't really want to listen to what they're saying. People come at you with this unwarranted advice, and you don't necessarily want to follow it at all. You've got to figure out how to enroll someone in your idea without telling them that they should go do something, to get them to figure it out themselves, to have them make the aha moment, like, oh shit, I should be doing this. Like filming them and asking them, like, hey, what do you see here compared to this person's lift? And let them explore what's going on with their body or their mindset, whatever it is. And to get them to understand it versus just telling them what they should be doing. And then explaining the why when they figure it out. I mean, I think that off the cuff, I think that would be very helpful for people.
Now,
Coaches, that is.
When you said to kind of bring them to that aha moment and not tell them, do you have specific wording that you're using when you're trying to get them to have that aha moment?
Man, I don't. In terms that's a lot of examples.
I'm just trying to get all your magic secrets, dog.
I guess. I'm like, shit. Like if someone comes in, you're talking about foot pain or something like that, to get them to understand that, the shoes you're walking around in, those squishy ass shoes you live your life in with the heel lift, and you got so many nerve endings in your feet to feel the ground. When you have them just take their shoes off and just be like, hey, look what I can do with my toes, look what I can do with my ankles. and kind of have them try to replicate that. And they're like, should I be able to do that? I'm like, in time. And like, what do you feel on the ground? When you had your shoes on, what did you feel on the ground? Nothing. You feel a shoe. You have your shoes off. Where do you feel your weight? They can't feel their weight in their shoes. They don't know that they're leaning forward or leaning back. And when you have them take their shoes off, they're like, wow, the sensory receptors start to kick in. You're like, oh, wow, I'm leaning forward. All my weight's in my toes. It just, that being one example, just having people kind of exploring the motions themselves versus being like, hey, you should wear barefoot shoes because blah, 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 but actually having them experience it. Oh, package.
That makes sense, and I appreciate you going into detail on that. Now, if you have someone who sees the Move You program online and they're like, oh, is that just mobility with yoga? When someone asks you, what is Move You, what are the exercises, how do you kind of explain that?
It's going to be, see, that's something that, like, as a non-salesperson and someone who, like, I don't think we fully understand what's going on and how to actually sell our program yet. We're always working on, like, all right, what's going on here? Why aren't people understanding, why they should buy our product? One of our biggest things, like, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So we're still in the path of, like, trying to understand our own product so that we can explain it simply. I think, honestly, it comes down to it's a collection of exercises to help build your awareness, to allow you to take control of what your limitations and strengths are and how you can improve on them. And then it's combined with a community of people. There's a reason that Alcoholics Anonymous and there's some cancer centers where this is an excellent research study. Cancer centers where groups of cancer patients that all have different forms of cancer and they're going through their chemo together, when they are together and they're experiencing it together, there's a much higher success rate of survival compared to cancer patients that are supported by family and friends and don't have interaction with each other. So having a community of people is a massive fucking mindset boost. I would say it's more important than the actual program. So having the community play a role in the movement aspect and having the community pick up on all of your limiting words, all the things you say to cut yourself down on a daily fucking basis, having you recognize those words and change your mindset and how you're speaking yourself into existence makes all the world of change. The thing is that this program we have is not a quick fix. It is a full-on lifestyle change, and it has it's not very little, but I'd say only about 30% of the program is about movement. Movement's great, but your mind is. Think about all the shit you've wanted to do with your life and how many times you cut yourself down in every area of your life. Our program's helping people realize that how to mend their marriages, whether or not they should leave them, stay in them, leaving their countries, leaving their jobs, staying in their job, and making change in their workplace. It's more than just a movement change, and I think that can be, we focus on, hey, we're going to help you with pain. At the end of 6 months to a year, people are making much bigger lifestyle changes than just having pain relief. It doesn't stop there. It's about how do you improve yourself as a human being.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that, and it's mindfulness, positive self-talk. I'm finding more and more how important nutrition is consistently. You hear about the cheat days, and you see like The Rock's Instagram, and those sorts of things can't take place anymore for me because I know on the back end 24, 48, 72 hours after eating gluten what that's going to do to my mindset and how much of an impact that's going to have on the next 3 days of my life. And no matter how much I move or how much I meditate, it's really going to be tough to get out of that headspace with a belly full of gluten.
Totally. Yeah, I think every person is different in that regard. Figuring out what it is that is your limiter in nutrition. I'm definitely not a nutrition specialist, but those elimination diets are a great way for people to, again, just like our program, go through and explore what it is with yourself, like Whole30 or some other elimination diet. A great way to explore like what is causing difficulties for you, and doing them multiple times a year. For me, gluten's a mild inflammatory. I think that corn is pretty big for me. Dairy is pretty big. I don't necessarily get like, with dairy, people talking about getting like gut-wrenching pains and shit. I just notice a lot more puffiness and inflammation. Something I've got going on right now is like I've been waking up with these huge puffy bags under my eyes, and people think I'm getting punched in the face and shit. I've never been in a fight in my life, so that's not happening. And so it's like me just kind of working on, all right, what's the new thing that my body's reacting to right now, whether it's living next to a road or the inflammation in my diet or the stress in my life, like what is it that's contributing to that?
All the above.
Yep.
Yo, you still on that sourdough life, dog?
Dude, sourdough is some good shit.
Sourdough is life.
Do you eat that at all, Rich?
I mean, I don't purchase it, and I certainly don't make it. But if I'm out eating with some friends and stuff, or at the diner, you're getting bacon and eggs, and it always comes with toast. I don't want to be that guy and say hold the toast, so I'll get the sourdough.
Give me lettuce.
Yeah. Are you making it?
What's that?
Do you make your own sourdough?
No, I was just gonna say there's a place in Asheville that makes sourdough. It's got like 3 ingredients. Dude, it is crazy because my girl Katie, she has crazy issues with gluten, corn, and like even sourdough sets her off. But this sourdough was not. It didn't seem to do anything to her.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
But
Do they ship?
I'd say, I don't know. I forget what they're called. City Bakery, maybe? Yeah, I think they're in downtown. Okay. I go, yeah. I don't know. But
Yeah, so
we're supposed to have meaningful curse words. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Way to be mindful. When we're talking about being meaningful and being mindful, one thing I like to ask our guests when we can remember is, do you have a daily practice? Do you have, a spiritual practice? Anything you're doing on the reg to kind of hone your energy and keep you on the path daily?
You know what? My daily ritual has fucking fallen apart. I work out daily, and it's a huge stressor on the body. Just really focusing on like the CrossFit aspect of it. It's a big stressor, but I was meditating, I was journaling, I would do massage, and then I'd say about 6 months ago, things just keep picking up, we keep hiring people, that stuff just one by one starts to fall out of place, and, there's a point where you're like, I need to do this stuff. And, maybe this question in and of itself is something I haven't been asked in the last year maybe, is enough of a motivator to be like, shit, if I'm speaking something into existence to people that are going to listen to me, and I'm saying I'm not doing this thing, I'm doing that thing today, then it's going to happen. I think that if you have a goal, or you're going to create a goal, it's important that you share it with the world and your friends and family, because it's going to hold you more accountable. So tonight, I'm going to start with journaling. I'm going to do my 5 gratitude and what am I grateful for today, and I'm going to start that again this evening, and I'm going to hold to that for the next 30 days.
Respect.
Yo, I love to hear that, and just know the Airey Bros got you, dog. We got that vibe. So if you're having a day where you're not feeling, trying to get it, just tap into that Airey Bros dog pound vibe. We're there, dog. We're in the same struggle, dog. Every day is a struggle, but you know you got your friends and your bros out there vibing and trying to make themselves better. In turn, makes the whole better, makes everyone better. So I love hearing that, dog.
When everybody does better, everybody does better.
Yeah, buddy.
Do you do anything else besides the 5 gratitudes?
I was going to start with that. Don't want to overload myself. People get excited. They're like, I'm going to do this, and then they don't do any of them. It's too much.
Yeah, that is.
So I'm going to stick with the 5. That's a quick journal entry each night. Get that habit built in, and then add on from there.
So this is kind of general question, but we're on a college campus. We got all the bros on the college campus listening to Airey Bros Radio, and you know they're hearing you talk. They go and they check out Moves You. They see the price. It might not be in their budget. What would be maybe 5 exercises, or a little bro practice? Obviously, you don't see them, so you don't know what they need. But something anyone could do to kind of just get themselves started in fixing their posture and being aware of their movement.
I mean, one exercise. Pull out your phone, open up our Instagram, and look at each of those things. Practice all. I mean, we got a free resource right there. People look at our Instagram. They're like, all right, I have shoulder pain. They're talking about knee pain right now. I don't need to listen to it. That's bullshit. Everything is connected. Our whole body's connected together. When one thing falls out of line, everything else has to make up for it. So you having a shoulder injury, you've got to look at what your pelvis is doing, your shoulders, your knees, your feet, your hips, your neck position, whatever it is, your thoracic rotation. Like there's so many little components that you can look at with your body that our Instagram kind of gives you. So being the poor college student that can't afford our program right now, and believe me, we're working on trying to figure out ways to make that possible for people. Our Instagram gives you more than those 3 exercises. If I was going to give you 3, it would be your pelvic tilts, your shoulder blade positioning, and your breathing. Just off the cuff, 3 things, and that was it. Like, do those things. I would love to just continue on that list because there's not one that's more important than the other. I just know that those 2 things, those 3 things, breathing, shoulder blade, pelvis, they're great for people. I could go into saying, all right, your feet, your tibia, your glute engagements, your knee alignment. Like I could just keep going up the chain. It's basically just what can everything in your body do? What are its limitations? But the 3, pelvis, shoulder blade, breathing.
So my follow-up to that, and obviously, you guys are trying to get people to enroll in the program, but if you're a bro college student, if you take the time and go through all those videos, is there enough on your Instagram feed to kind of make your own program and just follow along with those videos and get those exercises?
I'd say we get enough messages every day saying that our Instagram has changed people's lives that the answer would be yes. And I have no problem saying that. I think people have an issue with giving things for free. But when you give things away, you get back. And, that can be hard to see right now for us. We're obviously a team of 20. No one's making, exorbitant amounts of money. And exorbitant? What word did I just say?
Yo, we make up words here on Airey Bros Radio, so don't worry about it.
No, you make up words.
I'm trying to figure out what that word is. I'm stuck.
Exorbitant.
Anyway, I would say, there it is. You're smart. And I say the Instagram has a lot for people. It's just, it's random. It's sporadic. It's going to take time to piece together. I mean, even Whole30 is completely free. She says that openly. Like Melissa Hartwig. Oh, Melissa Hartwig's another person that we worked with. She's fucking awesome. She's an incredible human being. Her mindset is fire, and I would say that is another great one that we work with. Anyway, she gives her information out for free. It's just not easy to put it all together. So if it's an ease of use, then our program and the fact that there's a community there to support you is powerful. If you're not struggling right now, like, you know, you're not debilitated, then our Instagram is going to be a great resource for you right now. If you're a college student that's fucked up and you're like, my life is ruined because of my injury, then, you know, it's $234. $234 to be able to do whatever the fuck you want with your life. I'd say that's worth it.
Is there a hardbound book in the future for you guys?
Maybe. We're actually thinking about Mike and I have completely different stories about the business. So we're actually thinking maybe we'll write a book in the future just talking about our business, and it'll be I'll write one side of it, I'll write the other, and they'll be flipped upside down and just meet in the middle. Kind of a fun little idea. And then as far as movements, possibly, just talked about, you know, we have Ashley, our anatomy artist. I think it'd be cool to have just a shitload of her art in a book and just talking about different things.
Yeah, those things that you guys do with that is pretty cool. Is that a long process to have that painted on?
Depends. It's harder. It takes longer for her to draw bone. So if there's bone involved, it's a long one. The longest one that we did was the entire forearm, about 7 hours.
Jeez. Wow.
By the end of it, I was like, dude, I don't want to film.
That's like a tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I'd say most of them are between an hour and 2.
So
good shit.
Before we get you out of here, I know you've been super gracious with your time, and we appreciate that. One question I have for you, a little bit of personal, but I got to know, what are you listening to right now? What do I need to be listening to right now? What do the people need to be listening to right now?
Ooh, man. Music, huh?
Yeah. I can't have you on here and not get some gems from you.
You know, I'm actually going to my first festival in like the last year and a half or two this weekend, Hard Summer. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all electronic music. So hold on, guys. Let me pull up my thing. I'm like, I listen to so much music that I like forget.
Yo, do you dive into virtual self at all?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that was a while ago. I've been playing Beat Saber on my PlayStation. Have you guys heard of that?
No, we're not video gamers.
All right, hold on. Beat Saber is VR. You got the PlayStation VR headset. You can do this on your computer too. You put the VR headset on, and you have these 2 lightsabers in your fucking hand, and you've got these notes coming at you in sync with the song. You've got to slice them in the direction that the arrows point, and it is the most intense, just like cardio workout that I've done in any sort of like video game thing ever. I mean, it's got you squatting and ducking and going to the sides and shit as you're just slicing shit in the air constantly. It is fucking awesome.
Is there video footage of this that we can post?
Yeah, oh, dude, so much. So look up Beat Saber, dude. It is crazy. I got myself on Expert Plus mode. I'm over here getting crazy. I never thought it would be possible. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, so
it's Saber with a B?
Beat Saber,
okay.
Yeah, with a B.
Gotcha.
Small 5-person team. They just crushed it. They got like Game of the Year. They do intense. Okay, guys, the question was, what am I listening to right now? I would just say Flume's new album came out yesterday. It's a little EP. It was like 3 songs. Great little hip hop. Just a nice blend of his shit. Brock Berrigan, if you're looking for something super chill, it's like probably 40-minute album, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. You guys heard of that guy, Brock Berrigan?
No, sir.
Chill hop is the genre there, so it's super mellow, just like hip hop vibes. He blends in a bunch of like, he takes some wave cuts from like old 50 songs and puts them in there. Badass stuff. Rez's new album came out, so I've really just been getting a bunch of. I made some playlists for this show we're going to, and I've been listening to a bunch of that. Some R.L. Grime and Dylan Francis, some of the other poppy people, but been fun.
Right on, dog. When we do the open for the show, I told Richie we're gonna do some Porter Robinson to bring you in. Is that cool? You got a favorite Porter Robinson song you want us to use, or you got something else you want to be brought into the show with?
Dude, Porter Robinson. What was one of his verses? I mean, in terms of virtual self, his angel voices are, is it Ghosts? Dude, virtual self is fire.
All right.
You know that's the same person, right?
Duh.
Okay, good.
Cool. Well, I will definitely check out those artists and the suggestions you just gave us. I appreciate your music choice. You turned me on to a lot of things. I'm still rocking Grum on the reg, still in Juna Beats, and
really?
yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get Richie to go to Above and Beyond. They're doing a yoga thing here too at Red Rocks. I think
you know what? I did Above and Beyond. I lied. I have been to a festival. That was June. I went to Above and Beyond on my own solo. Went out there. I got recognized a bunch by people. That was cool. But yeah, they did the yoga set to start. That was one of the sickest things I've ever done at a festival. Just having the amount of bass in those songs was gnarly. You're holding like some pose, and you just got like the thickest subwoofer going through your chest. It was really, really cool. And then their crowd's cool because they're in like their 30s. Like the average age at an Above and Beyond show is like mid-30s. And I appreciate that. So I'm about to go to this hard summer. It's going to be 18-year-old Asian girls.
Yeah, sign me up, bro.
And, you know, that's different. I'm 28 now. And, yeah, Yotto, Yotto, and Lane 8, Rufus the Soul. I know Rufus the Soul isn't a part of that realm. Those three are just super relaxing.
Did you see, are you into Hot Since 82 at all?
Yeah.
They just put out a new album. It came out Tuesday, I think it was. Or maybe last week.
I'm going to check it. There's albums on the daily. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I am actually needing to go film.
All right.
Another breakfast.
Before we get you out of here, just let people know where they can find you and what they should check out.
For sure. So MoveU is the big account that we started with, MOVE, the letter U. We actually finally just got the handle MoveU after 3 years. It was MoveU_official. Now it's MoveU. My handle is MoveU Shirtless Dude, MOVE, letter U, Shirtless Dude. MoveU.com is where our program is. And that MoveU.com pretty much just takes you to all of those things. So that's it.
Right on, brother. We really appreciate you coming on. Have fun with your day. Good luck filming, and have fun at the festival.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the questions. It's good shit. You guys have some like deep questions too. I love it.
That's what we do at the Airey Bros.
Good work.
Thank you.
I've done. I don't know if it helps that I know you guys, but you know I've done a bunch of podcasts, and that was my favorite so far. So appreciate it.
Respect.
Hell
Much
yeah.
love.
Awesome talking to you. Have a good one, Andrew. Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later.